Welcome back to Two Tall Guys Talking Sales, where Kevin Lawson and Sean O'Shaughnessy break down the powerful connection between sales and marketing. In today's episode, you'll learn why every salesperson needs a little bit of marketing skill and how aligning messaging across your website, collateral, and conversations builds lasting credibility. Sean and Kevin share practical strategies for field marketing, account-based outreach, and digital presence that directly support revenue generation. Stay tuned for actionable insights you can use right away to sharpen your sales processes and drive sales success.
When we think about generating or meeting or exceeding quota, you have a sales component and you have a prospect and account component where you start putting numbers to people or brands. But today we want to back that train up a little bit and talk about how do you connect with your market. So in some businesses, you have an entire marketing department, but when the marketing department is also the sales department, you got to approach it a little bit differently because often you don't have enough hands available on your team to do all the work. So today we're going to talk about how to select outside resources, how to internally move and maneuver your team and your thinking to make sure your marketing and sales is aligned. Because sometimes, especially in small businesses, it's important that the sales leader also knows how to activate their marketing. Sean, let's get into it.
This is a great topic. I frequently tell salespeople that you are responsible for the marketing to your accounts, to your territory. Even if they have a marketing department, even if there's somebody else out there, they should be selecting the right types of marketing campaigns, working with their marketing partners to select those campaigns. But in some cases, they have to customize that message, right? Because there's things that are unique to their market, that are unique to their customers, especially when we start talking about account-based marketing, where we're actually going to be going in and figure out how do I market to this company that's going to be the biggest company in my territory for my quota? How am I going to market to them such that they pay attention to me? Every salesperson needs to have a little bit of marketing skill in order to pull this off. The things that you need to think about is not how do I get the deal, but how do they pay attention to me? Because marketing is about getting them to pay attention to you. It's about seeing the ad. If you watch sports on TV, you've now seen that same ad 14 times, and somebody then says, what pizza should we order? Of course, we should order the one that I just saw 14 times ago. That's what marketing is all about, is getting noticed, getting people to pay attention to you. It's not about making the sale. It's not about closing the deal. That's what salespeople are for. So if you are trying to break into an account, then you have to market to that account. And how you market to that account creates a variety of techniques. One of those techniques, of course, is to figure out where are their goals that they are missing or their pains so that we can appropriately send things to them that make sense, that would entice them to say, oh, Kevin must have a solution to this because all of the messaging that I'm seeing from Kevin has the same kind of feel to it, and it's about the same problem we're having achieving this goal. So as you understand your company, you can market to them in a very effective way. So we've talked in the past about using your network to break into an account. That's a very sales-driven function, but there's some things that you have to send to them. There are things that you want to talk about when you do have meetings that they have the same message as your marketing. In other words, you have to have a common message across. And that is the first thing that a salesperson and a sales leader needs to think about, is aligning whatever your message is to that account, to that territory, to what you are going to say when you actually show up and start selling to them. Because you want to be the same and be in sync. And since you're driving it, since you're in charge of it, then you have to do that. Now, if you are a sales leader of a relatively small company and you don't have a marketing department and you need partners, then your network has to include marketers that can help you and give you ideas, and maybe you can outsource some things. There's field marketing that you have to do. There's shows, chambers of commerce meetings, those types of things. And you want those things to be very well done and to create a great environment for prospects to say, wow, Kevin really knows his stuff. and therefore they're going to pay attention to you. So field marketing should be the very first place that a sales leader should start, so that we have backdrops, we have signage that we can put up, we have handouts that we can put out that are unique to us, that are maybe about our territory or about that city. We even need to think about, when we're doing field marketing, what reference customers can we refer to prospects, so that there's somebody local, somebody down the street. So doing that reference company building is what salespeople should be pretty good at doing. Combining those into a list, into a bunch of signage, into some handouts, that is what the sales leader, with maybe some admin help or maybe some outsourced marketing people that can create pretty things. That's another thing the sales leader that is also responsible for marketing should be thinking about. Kevin, you've done a lot of events in your past, and you've done a lot of this. Fill out this list a little bit more than what I just did.
So I think it's important to recognize for anyone listening here that everything Sean and I are talking about is an and, not an or. As salespeople, especially in small enterprises, small companies, or in founder-led sales organizations, it's up to you to do the critical thinking that's going to return the results you need in terms of pipeline, customer relationships, peer relationships, and partner relationships. The cavalry's not coming in small business. And that's too often the mindset that I have to first get people to think through, is that just because we have a neat product or creative solution, or we have new marketing or new ad slicks, doesn't mean people are just going to run towards us and go, man, I saw your new website, or I saw your new ad slick. That looks great. Let me give you my money. No, it's an and. We have to show up with a sales hypothesis. We have to show up with an understanding of what is broken in their world and how do we unbreak their problem? How do we help them fix all those things? I'm going to tie in some of what Sean and I talk about a lot, which is the ideal client profile and the persona, which is the who we're targeting at the business level, demographics, psychographics of the business, and who inside the business, the persona, are we trying to talk to about a problem they have that we can solve. Now, if you're listening to a Wall Street quarterly call or annual call, you hear inside out analysis, outside in analysis, you hear about problem statements, you hear about big plays. Sometimes executives with big teams and multiple silos or multiple departments will talk about, here's the big play we're making, or here's the risk we're managing, or here's the risk we're taking. All of these things apply at the small business level too. Just because there's more zeros to the left of the decimal point in somebody's revenue doesn't mean their problems are wildly different. It means that sales and marketing specifically have the same challenges. We have to attract new relationships, we have to retain existing relationships, and we have to grow existing relationships. All of things are sales and marketing aligned activities, whether you're a power of one, meaning one person, or a power of 100,000 or 1 million employees. So when we think about going to shows, if you're a big company, a medium-sized or regional company, you have a lot of people going to a lot of different shows. If you're a small or medium-sized business with a small sales team, you're selectively choosing which shows you have the highest probability of meeting new customers, your next wave of customers. So now we get to roll this stone over and talk about the persona and ICP at those shows, at those networking events, at those chamber events, on your email list. I work with a lot of sales leaders or owners who are new to marketing digitally, and there's a lot of fear around, am I allowed to send messages? Am I going to break a law like a GPDR law in marketing and sending out messages to you? I don't want to be in somebody's spam box, is a phrase I hear a lot. And we don't want you in there either. Sean and I are not talking about doing marketing in a way that gets you blacklisted. We're talking about doing marketing in a way that is thoughtful, that attracts and makes people aware of our solutions so that we can help people solve a problem that they have in their business. This all comes back to showing up where your prospects are and talking to them about the problems they have and how solving those problems will make their business better. And it's a direct corollary to our solutions, right? If somebody's in the market to buy a car and I'm in the boat business, I'm not trying to sell them a boat with 4 wheels. I am trying to find other people who are in the boat buying vertical. You're matching your solution to their problem. Sean, I'm giving a lot of examples there, but I want to get down in the weeds a little bit here and talk about how are we showing up digitally, physically? How are we trying to show up in a way that gets us remembered? And how are we trying to show up in a way that our prospect or customer takes away what we want them to remember, which is the marketing, collateral, asset, and topics that we talk about? Let's unpack that a little bit.
That's a big box to unpack.
Huge.
Yeah. So it does all go back. Everything you just said, all that collateral, all your website, all that stuff has to go back into what is your sales message. So you need to be in sync with your sales message with your sales team. Now, a lot of sales leaders will say, yeah, I know a little bit of HTML, or we have Joe in the office or Sally in the office. She knows a little bit of HTML. We're going to spend a little bit of money on our website. Don't do that. Go hire somebody that's really good at website designs, right? You don't have to do those in-house. Websites are not that expensive to deploy, but go find somebody that is really good. And literally, you don't have to spend a ton of money. So there's really good professional teams that are in your neighborhood, in your market. You probably should be networking to those people because they might have some insight into potential customers. So maybe there's a give and get, a thing that you can do to help get a little bit of a discount to get a really good website made. Worst case, you go to your local high school, your local community college, and you go find the professor or the teacher, the department that has people building websites for a class, and you get some help there. So there's somebody really smart that is 1/3 your age that will build a website on the side, and they just would love to do it. So there's ways to get it done no matter what your budget is, but don't do the simple slap it together, make a WordPress site, and that's all you got. Go spend some time, go spend some effort. But the content that goes in there, as I said before, needs to be aligned with that message. So if there's certain things that are hot in your market, there's certain things that are really cold in your market, like you don't want to talk about this, but you really want to talk about something else. Maybe you know that unemployment is very low in your market, in your territory, in the city that you're doing business. Maybe then the issue is going to be about efficiency, right? How does your product, how does your solution increase efficiency? Because we can't hire as well as we used to in our market because unemployment's incredibly low. Maybe it's the flip side. Maybe unemployment is really high because you had a major factory close in your market. And so the unemployment's very high right now in this 2-3 year span until some other companies move in. And so maybe in that case, you're not talking about efficiency because efficiency feels a little bit too much like layoffs. And so let's not make that message come out. So be very careful about your messaging. And I bring up that one because I know that it does happen, especially in local communities. Somebody gets bought, some company closes down, they move that facility. And so in the short term, you have a high unemployment, or in some cases, somebody new comes in, and now we have low unemployment. So those issues come in, but there's other issues that are also local to that space that are very important to think about. The one thing I'll leave you with as we roll down to the top of our episode here is that everything has to be in sync. Your message has to be in sync. There is an old adage, an old joke that says, how do you know when a salesperson is lying? Because their lips are moving. That's not appropriate because most salespeople don't lie because they find that when they lie, they lose the deal anyway, so they get in trouble. So salespeople really don't lie that much, especially in the B2B space. But our customers think they do. And there's that impression of, gee, am I being lied to? Is this being misrepresented? Are we being exaggerated to? So maybe not lie, but exaggerations. The key thing that I've found is if it's on the website, then it's real. So if we think about our website as our verification of what the salesperson says, if we think about that handout, that slick, that PDF that we're going to give to a customer, that's well done, professionally done, looks very good, has logos on it, has copyright messages on it. Those things look like they are appropriate. They have been researched. The legal team of the company is behind them. So therefore, when the salesperson says the same thing, it gives them the credibility to say that it's all right, that I can believe this. So because of that, you need to have whatever your salespeople are talking about, whatever their message is to their customer, you need to have that reflected in that marketing message. So we are right here. We're at the end of our show. We're going to talk about more of this in upcoming episodes, I guarantee. We talk about marketing. We talk about being aligned with marketing on a regular basis. So come back. We do this episode every Tuesday at 4:30. It'll be on your podcast player by 5:30, 6 o'clock by the time it rolls out across the internet. So check us out every Tuesday. And we look forward to talking to you again. But until then, happy selling.
What a fantastic conversation today on Two Tall Guys Talking Sales. Kevin and Sean really opened my eyes to the importance of field marketing, how shows, chambers of commerce, and local references can elevate credibility and create stronger connections with prospects. Sales professionals need to show up with intention, aligning their message with what matters most in their territory. I especially appreciated their reminder that consistency across your website, collateral, and sales conversations builds trust and keeps you top of mind. And don't forget the actionable takeaway. Audit your messaging for alignment. This is critical because if your sales story doesn't match what prospects see online or in your handouts, you risk losing credibility. Do it today before the rush of business pushes it to the back burner. You'll thank yourself when your next sales call feels smoother and more credible. If you need support with sales, sales management, or simply accelerating your company's growth, reach out to Sean or Kevin. Their contact info is in the show notes. Better yet, join the B2B Sales Lab, a powerful community of sales professionals and leaders who share resources, answer real-world questions, and help each other succeed. The lab is built to help you hit quota and grow faster, and the link is waiting for you in the show notes. We'll be back next Tuesday afternoon with another episode packed with strategies to help you win more deals and grow your revenue. Until then, happy selling.